Alright, welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely day, a lovely night wherever you're from. And real quick before we get started, as always, I want to give a lovely shout out to the channel members on this channel. So thank you so much to these lovely commanders here that you see on screen. Thank you guys so much for your guys' constant generosity and supports me as always. It really means a lot to me, so thank you guys so much. If you guys are actually interested in becoming a lovely commander yourself, if you are interested in any of these cute and lovely emotes, loyalty crown badges, you want a special role in the Discord, make sure to join the Discord. But as always, if you choose to do so, thank you so much. Just remember, that's not the only way that you can support me. Just watching the content like you are right now is truly the best way. Liking, subscribing, and commenting, everything really does help. So thank you guys so much. And for today's video, after doing the polls for the gacha and Doro herself, doing a lot of extensive testing, it's finally time for me to do my testing video for Doro. A lot of exciting things, but as always with this video, I like to break it down into 3 categories: the timing and income, and the account, based on everything to see if you should pull or not, or even tick it. Then I like to talk about the waifu, which is always subjective, but I love to talk about it. Then I like to talk about, her skills, her equipment, and then get to testing. And that one is going to be pretty long because I did some extensive testing right now. So timestamps for wherever you want to go down below. I'm gonna be honest right now. Right now is kind of an interesting time because this is an unfortunate 1% banner for Dorothy. She is a pilgrim, limited summer pilgrim too. So she is not going to be wishlisted afterwards, as this is a summer character. Now, I'm going to be honest, if you don't have a shotgun team, that's fine, because she is still a great off element and water DPS. She's probably the top DPS right now, depending, and she is insane. She's a strong powerhouse. So for a lot of people, I'd recommend at least going for 1 copy. I feel like no matter what, she's going to be really good, especially if you invest in her. She's definitely worth it. So to me, I think actually going for 1 copy is definitely strong enough. In terms of MLB, honestly, I don't think any character is worth the MLB, but definitely with Dorothy's case, you will see more damage output if you go for MLB. I think it's worth it if you are a big enough whale to do that, if you want to. I'm thinking about doing it, but first I want to get my MLB for Elegg first. Then I'm going to probably triple back, maybe go for some pulls, or I'll just tick it, I'll see. But while we're on the topic of talking about Dorothy, let's talk about the waifu aspect, because with the waifu aspect, I just want to say Shift Up has done a great job this summer, because they're cooking, not with just the gacha, but with the characters themselves, including their kid. They did a phenomenal job, and she looks really, really good. Now, honestly, I'm kind of like iffy with Dorothy. I kind of like her and kind of don't, but her summer variant, they absolutely cooked. They did fun with her parasol. The balloons theming around her look absolutely fantastic. They did a great job. Her outfit might be a little bit basic, but it matches her, and it looks really, really cute. And I'm just saying, she is stacked. She looks fantastic, even from the cover shooting. She looks great. The JPS that you get from the shotgun, really, really good. Looks solid. They did a great job with it, man. Great job. And I just want to say, by the way, with this shooting pose, her shoes aren't connected to her feet, so she actually has rendered feet, and we don't get to see it. I'm just saying, missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. But overall, looks really great. So even just from the waifu aspect, if you're just collecting, I think it's worth it in my opinion. But let's talk about the meta aspect, and let's talk about her skills and equipment, because she is going to be a needy character. As always with this character, I have her maxed out at 10-10-10 with an SR level 15 doll. And I'm gonna be honest, I think the bare minimum for her is 7-7-7. She's definitely balanced overall, and she is a damn powerful character. Now, for now, I have her at OL 0 because I need some material for Elegg, because I want to make sure she can at least get OL. But I want to max her out first because of the waifu reasons. And then I'll probably double back to Doro because she is powerful. Now, although she is powerful, there's nothing really complex with her. She's overall pretty balanced in terms of the skills. Like I said, 7-7-7. OL gear, you're definitely going to want to go for the normal elemental attack and max ammo if you can, just because she is a shotgun. Now for me, I ended up getting like 1 or 2 max ammo lines. Unfortunately, my rolls were just not that good for her. So she has like 40% elemental, nothing too crazy, but still there is some investment there. But here's the interesting thing. Her skill 1 would definitely benefit if you were to main the piercing cube. However, my piercing cube is only level 3, so I'm not going to use it. If it was 10 or above, I would actually be using that cube instead. For majority of the people who don't have their pierce cube invested, you'd rather just go with resilience or bastion. It really doesn't matter. Maybe just depending if you got max ammo rolls or not, then just figure out which one. And then if you do have an invested piercing cube, go with the piercing cube. Her skill 1 would greatly benefit from it, and I think that's where more of her damage would actually shine from. So because of that, I'm actually going to start focusing on, actually leveling the Pierce Cube. For me, right now, I just want to make sure that I get my Resilience to 14, just like my Bastion. And then I'm going to go from there. Because I know for most people, They just kind of main Bastion of Resilience just because it's so universal, which makes sense, but I know it's a pain in the ass to swap because the system sucks. However, with talking about everything in regards to her skills, her cubes, and all of that, let's start talking about investments for testing. Now this part might go on for a while, so timestamps as always, but let's get started because my first testing I actually did water DPS comparisons. And first off, I just want to talk about my investment for transparency's sake. My helm is not that great, unfortunately. She kind of got screwed with the RNG. She has 0 elemental, only like 26% attack, a lot of max ammo, but she did get shafted in the RNG department. So when you see testing, you're going to see she is not the strongest. I don't have the best helm, even though she is a top character for me. And then when we go back and we scroll down to my Dorothy, when we actually go look at the comparisons, my summer Doro is pretty decent. I wouldn't say the best, but 44% elemental, a good chunk of max ammo right here at 129%. I wish I got more attack, but it is what it is. Now, I will say my biggest heavy hitter is my Quincy, who got blessed by RNG rocks because she has 70% elemental, 36% attack, 44% max ammo. She does a great job. She's probably my strongest water DPS. Honestly, my weakest link is my Ludmilla. I just don't have her that invested. She's at like 777, SR doll level 0. That's purple. Same thing with Quincy. With my Ludmilla, she is 23%, attack at 11%, a lot of max ammo, so a bit better than my helm, but not by much. So just keep that in mind when we talk about testing. And then we're also going to be doing shotgun comparisons. So when we're talking about my shotgun characters, let's say Soda Bunny, she is pretty strong. She has an SR0 doll as well with 31% elemental, 44% max ammo, 32% attack as well, which is pretty damn nice. And then my Drake, who is a top DPS on my team, she has core 7, SR, obviously, you know, favorite item and everything. And then she has 52% elemental, 68% max ammo, 11% attack. So she is pretty strong. So when we do testing and stuff, just be aware those are my investments. For everybody, it is going to be different, but I think it's important for me to be transparent when I talk about the results. And when we're talking about results right now, so this is a test that I did with pure water DPS. So this is just strong water advantage, and Dorothy right here, and my Quincy going, you know, neck and neck. Pretty insane to see how well Quincy is doing. And the investment level is really, really close between my Doro and Quincy right now. And Dorothy does not have any MLB. This is MLB 0 pretty much. My helm is over here with 700 million as the off burst, which is fine. But when we swap and have helm as the main burst and Quincy is off DPS, there are some interesting things here because helm is doing a lot more now that she gets the burst, but Quincy is still a powerhouse over here at 2.2 million. So it was actually better off doing this, so we got more damage overall as a team, because I just forget how insane Quincy is, man. She is insane, and Dorothy is still the powerhouse. Ignore Little Mermaid over there. She's broken as usual. She's great, but Dorothy is doing insane numbers. And then I decided to do off burst with Ludmilla just to see, and the damage numbers here are still pretty insane. It's awesome to see how well Ludmilla does with what she brings for the team. It makes sense. 3.1 billion from Doro, 2.8 billion for Quincy, still neck and neck, but it's insane how strong they are. Then I decided to swap just like before, and this time Ludmilla is going to be bursting over here. 3.2 million from Dorothy. You know, Quincy is still 2 billion strong, but obviously starting to lag behind. Ludmilla kind of catching up to Quincy over here at 1.7 billion. Remember, my investment is kind of different. Some might be stronger or weaker, depending. However, this is also just water testing, which is no surprise that she's doing this great. So how about off element? How well does she do off element? With off element, this is where I started doing shotgun team testing. Now, when I talk about this, I'm going to do a before and after of using Tove with her treasure or not, and I'll tell you which one just for transparency's sake. But to get started, right here, I have Tove, the twin bunnies, I have Doro and Drake, and we're doing fire testing. So for Doro, this is obviously off element. For Drake, she has the advantage here. 2 billion for Dorothy and 1.8 billion for Drake, who's just starting to just, you know, go a little bit behind, but still really, really strong numbers here. It's insane. And this is before Tove has phase 2 treasure. And then after, right here is the after, a 200, just about like an estimate of a 200 million increase for both Drake and Dorothy after getting Tove's treasure. So some significant numbers here because that's still a great bump, especially for Solar Raid, for instance. That's awesome to see, but it's not as big of an impact for the amount of investment, so you can take that as what you will. Now, despite doing the twin bunnies, I also did the traditional shotgun team as well. with Tove, Leona, and then I actually had off burst with Soda Bunny just to, fill in the slot. Dorothy doing 2.2 billion, Drake doing 1.6 billion. So she is starting to fall behind a bit compared to Dorothy, but still going really, really strong. And then in comparison with her treasure over here, once again, a 200 million just about increase for both of them. It's pretty interesting to see what the difference is, but it's not as much as I would hope for the amount of investment for the treasures. So a little underwhelming, but still awesome to see some increase and noticeable change. Now, despite testing Drake, I also wanted to do the same treatment for Soda Bunny, as they are my main bunnies that I use for shotgun teams. So when we're comparing Iron, obviously Doro is, off element, but Soda Bunny is getting the advantage on Iron. And first, once again, I tested this with the twin bunnies. Now, Doro is at 1.9 billion, and Soda Bunny is at 1.7 billion. So they are pretty much neck and neck, but there's a slight difference. Then once again, I tested with Tuve's treasure, and they both pretty much got around 200 million increase. Dorothy's now at 2.1 billion, and Sparkling Soda Bunny is at 1 billion. So still some noticeable, but pretty, on average, comparable results compared to before as well. And I just found that interesting. Now, once again, with the more traditional shotgun team between both of them, Dorothy's doing 2.1 billion, and Soda Bunny fell a little bit behind at 1.7 billion. But then when we get Tuve's treasure, this is where some interesting results happen. A pretty noticeable increase for Dorothy over here at 2.4 billion now compared to 2.1 billion. And then Soda Bunny went from 1.7 billion to 2 billion. So pretty noticeable numbers here. And this is insane. She is a very strong character. The fact that even off element on a shotgun team, she is still doing more is absolutely crazy. There are insane comparisons here. I'm not surprised by these results because it sounded really, really good on paper, and the fact that the kit tested great in testing makes sense. I'm really happy about it, and honestly, I'm pretty happy. At least this isn't a situation where it feels like the 1% still rough. Obviously it is, and I honestly don't know how I feel about the 1% overall, especially for summer limited units. It's a very much slippery slope, so at least with the character, she is really strong, but once again, she needs a lot of investment. Not many people have that opportunity to do a lot of investment, especially for solo raid. So I really don't know how helpful this character will be for many people depending on their account, which is why I wanted to talk about that aspect, because it could be rough. But do let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the character overall. Are you really happy about it? Let me know. I know this was a lot of yapping, but I hope it was kind of helpful. But as always, that is going to be it from me. I hope you guys have a lovely day, lovely night wherever you're from. And as always, thank you so much for the constant support. Take care and have a good one.